Well, good morning, everyone. This is Keith with Positively Osceola, another episode of our Daybreak. Sometimes we call it the Coffee Club Talk, but generally that is the evening show. And why we drink coffee at night, I don't know, but I do. So it works for me. There you have it. So a beautiful Monday, and no better way to start that off by having do a show that we feel is seriously impacting the Osceola County area. It has been for a bit of time for sure, and one of the folks out there making that happen is Dr. Simba Wiltz, and so we're going to ask him to join us right now and say good morning to him. How you doing, sir?
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you. I know you're a busy man, so thanks for hanging out with us on a Monday. That's usually is a tough start for people because if you wait too long to start your Monday, it climbs into Tuesday, and then on it goes. So we appreciate you spending some time with us this morning.
Sure, glad to be here.
So we have lots to talk about. It's going to be a challenge to get it inside 20, 25 minutes. If we don't, then we didn't. But I'm really looking forward to this because you do something very, very cool, very, very special at CFAR. So let's go ahead and make it an official start to the morning. And there you have it. So the official introduction. So with me today, we have Dr. Simba Wiltz, the CEO of Central Florida Animal Reserve, or known as CFAR. And you're CFAR is a big cat and wildlife sanctuary housing lions, tigers, leopards, and cougars, addressing the challenges of big cats in the future and providing value to society today. Pretty accurate?
That's our mission.
That is the deal, right? Got it right straight from you guys. So again, welcome and thank you for being here this morning. So for those people who may not know what CFAR is, why don't you go ahead and tell us, give us the elevator thing there, and let us know what CFAR is and what you guys do up.
Well, sure. So we are a big cat home, and what we do is take care of our animal residents for the duration of their lives. And we specialize primarily in big cats. So as we said, tigers, lions, leopards, and cougars. And our primary mission is to try to find ways to provide appropriate home and, of course, also be able to engage the public in real conversation about the challenges that these guys face both domestically and abroad.
Well said. So how are you set up for people to experience what you're doing out there with the big cats?
Right. And so because the primary mission is taking care of the residents, we are not like a zoo or a theme park. We're constantly in the work and in the act of trying to make sure that they have the best life possible. And so in order to bring the public in, we offer guided tours throughout the weekends so that people have the opportunity to come and engage in that conversation and see the cats up close in a comfortable and intimate setting.
So how many cats do you have out there right now?
We've got 25 cats out there right now, and that's quite a mix. Yep.
That's awesome. And in full disclosure, we have been out there a few times, so I'm asking some broad questions, but I have had firsthand experience enjoying being out at CFAR. It is an amazing place. I have to say, I mean, we live a busy life. Everybody lives a busy life. And so sometimes it's got to be amazing for you when you're in Osceola County and you're talking and somebody goes, well, I didn't know, I have never heard of Central Florida Animal Reserve. You must hear that. We all hear those kind of things when it comes to our organizations and businesses. But the fact is that we all do live busy lives. And I just can't, I could not encourage people enough to go experience what you are doing out there. I mean, you're certainly advocates for all these cats. It's an amazing scenario. I can't even fathom the things that I don't know that you do for those cats. It's pretty amazing. So why don't you do that? Why don't you give us kind of a verbal journey through a day with 25 big cats in Osceola County?
Well, it varies every day, and I think that's one of the things that keeps the many volunteers that come back and work with the animals coming back to actually engage them, because each day is going to be something slightly different. There are,
Mhm.
of course, some larger scale elements that happen on a regular basis. We, of course, have to make sure that the cats are fed. Because they are obligate carnivores, of course, only eating meat, and when they get hungry, it's food time. And so feeding is one of the big things that we end up doing out there on a regular basis. But there's also always so much maintenance. You can't just go down to a pet store and get your tiger supplies. It becomes very,
Bag of
very
tiger food.
important. Uh, exactly. We have to build and we have to maintain all of these various homes that we've created for the cats. In the process of feeding, that is not as simple as just kind of throwing food in the pan and tossing it to them. These guys are on very calibrated diets and require appropriate weighing, appropriate vitamin mixtures that are in play. And
Right.
in many cases, because we are that long-term care home, it is some significant medical care that goes into it as well. We are responsible for making sure that they stay healthy, and that can involve various medications, especially as our population ages, to keep them comfortable and keep them at their top condition as we can.
So again, this is a question I'm asking, having actually seen the answer. But so I'm thinking people are probably asking. So you have these big cats. How do you keep them motivated and experience based? How do you provide interesting things to them so that they live a healthy and engaging life? How do you do that?
Well, the art of animal husbandry is all about establishing that relationship. And through that relationship, we're able to encourage various behaviors from the cats so that they can demonstrate both their own capabilities as well as to show us that they're still functioning in good condition. Play is actually one of the most important elements to a big cat's life. And for tigers, and really all of the big cats, they're not really like horses. They don't like to run and run around all the time. But what they do love to do is they love to experience levels and to test their strength against various objects. And so what you'll see at our location is that we've got lots of different levels, depending on, of course, the species. Some species, like the leopards and cougars, they like to be up high. And so we have much higher perches that they can jump up
Right.
on and look down on the world and on all of their people as they're resting throughout the day. But then for the tigers, they too will have elevation, so they can get up high on a den or on any of the various covert enrichments that we've put in there. And then, of course, it comes to the play items. They really enjoy things that have strong scents. Scent enrichment is a really big part of what we do, providing them different safe plants, providing them essential oils, or providing them various perfumes that they find very fascinating. And once they are on the toys or they're in the clothes, they enjoy going around and sniffing, smelling, and sometimes playing very vigorously with those toys that have the sense.
Yeah, we did witness a bit of that as well when we were out there when you were doing enrichments. I feel like at this point I probably should put a little bit of video on that gives people a kind of a visual look at what you guys are doing out there, just the cats themselves. Now this is a little bit of a long clip, so I'm going to I'll pop in and then we'll pop back out and talk about it in a second. Let's go ahead and take a look at just a little bit of what you're doing out there. So easy to say that is the first time maybe those cats had tasted pumpkin.
Yes, and that's an annual tradition that we have been engaging the cats with pumpkins, and some of those clips bring back a lot of fond memories with seeing the cats experiencing it over time. When you look at the cats and watching them have the pumpkins, that's kind of one of those really neat stories to tell people, because they see the cats, the pumpkins are curious, they're like balls, but they're not exactly balls. And we experience pumpkins very differently than they do, because cats cannot taste the sweet. They don't have the receptors in their tongues.
Really?
Sweet. So if you could picture eating a pumpkin, but taking all of the sweetness out of it, that's really more along the lines of what they're experiencing. And that's where you get some of those amazing, funny faces as they try to get it out of their teeth, or the slight bitterness that's part of a pumpkin settles in, and they sniff and smell it and make a lot of great expressions.
That's what I thought we would do, a seasonal thing by bringing the pumpkins into it. I think there's something also I can't do that tigers can do when tasting pumpkins, which is get my entire mouth around one, pretty much.
Pumpkins can be tasty, but not that tasty.
Exactly. So, from a community standpoint, so how do we engage? So, from what we saw, we did a little bit of promotion for this today, and some great responses and some interest. So maybe somebody out there who hadn't heard of what you're doing out there, how would the community or interested parties connect with what you're doing? Because I've got to assume that quality volunteers would be a help thing to you guys out there.
Certainly. We need people 7 days a week to be able to take care of the cats. And though we have our anchoring crews, our ability to grow and to flourish is really going to be a function of how the community chooses to support us. And there are lots of ways to do so, ways that really encompass anybody's particular lifestyle. If you like to build and you're outdoorsy and you enjoy being out and about nature, then being an on-site volunteer may be the right thing for you. You can learn more by going to our website, volunteer.cflar.org, and you can learn about the volunteer sign-up process and see if it's the right fit for you. But not everyone is going to want to be outside all the time. It is dirty, it's sweaty work, and so we are always looking for people who can help promote us in the community, visit us for a tour, and then be able to tell everyone else about the work that's going on. We have done a lot of great connection with kids. And so, in this COVID time, particularly, we may connect to each other via the internet, but it's very different than making that real connection of being on the ground. And so we really invite people to come and make that connection in a safe environment, smaller environment, so that we don't have to worry about large groups of crowds. And bringing kids and families out is a great way to spend an afternoon walking and talking and learning all about the cats and the world they live in.
Yeah, I think that brings up a good subject. So kind of perfect for a time period when we're concerned with being in places that are larger, right? Where an uncontrolled audiences can have. And we're fans of Positively Osceola. We do our time in the theme parks, making sure people know what the theme parks are responsibly doing as far as making sure people are safe and stay healthy. Just yesterday, we were at SeaWorld again. We're an advocate for that organization for sure. But there can be times during certain days and when the crowds, even restricted as they are, still can kind of get a little bit big here and there, depending on what your fancy is for crowds right now. But in your case, that's not an issue. So why don't you describe that particular thing, briefly, if you would, what that tour looks like, so people know what you're saying.
Right. So on all of our tour formats, we have a maximum group size of no more than 8 people. And that does two things. First, it does limit the number of people who will be actively walking through the facility at one
Right.
time, but it also limits the amount of kind of crowd pressure that is placed on the cats so they
Right.
can continue to exhibit their natural behaviors. This is an all outdoor experience as well. So once we actually leave our education center and go on tour, the bulk of the walking is going to be done on a nice path that puts you in great proximity to see the cats. In many cases, you are 3 feet away from their main enclosure, and that gives the opportunity to see elements of the cats and their behaviors in a way that you don't often get in many other formats. And because those group sizes are small, and because we do also make sure that we're wearing masks in those rare instances where we are in more enclosed spaces, that makes it a much safer opportunity, and one that people can feel very comfortable both coming in and going out.
I'd also say for those who have not been out there and are trying to figure out what this would look like, it's very well done. The layout is, like you said, it's felt like the cats have lots of personal space and that they're very much at ease. But also, it's not 17 miles where you're going to dedicate 40 hours of walking. That's not what it is either. It's really well laid out. So somebody who maybe a senior might say, I want to experience this, but my gosh, I can only imagine how long it's going to be. It's not that at all. It's really well laid out for everybody. Really.
And for anyone that has mobility challenges, we actually provide golf carts. So that way you can ride along. You still get the same distance and it doesn't have as much stress. And we do that frequently.
Awesome. So something that hit me when you were talking earlier. So how would organizations in the community in and around Osceola County, how do organizations and businesses help you?
Well, while doing tours is a fantastic way to help support the cats, it's really our memberships that allow us to really focus in on the mission. And Central Florida Animal Reserve has multiple membership levels. And these memberships, depending on the type that you get, will allow you to not only be seen on site, but also have something tangible that you can show that you are supporting the cats in your local area. So business memberships are a fantastic way to actually support the cats. And if you want to find out more, please just reach out to us on our website. We have a lot of different ways that you can do it by going to donate.cflar.org. That is the best address, and we would be happy to work with you to find your particular tiger involvement.
That's great. So anything that we haven't really covered that you'd like people to know that you're doing and how they can be a part of or experience what you're doing?
Well, I think that it's important to mention that we are, of course, coming up to the end of the year, and this is a really important time for nonprofits because, especially with the COVID crisis, every business has definitely had an impact. But many times, nonprofits and animal groups are the ones that are disproportionately impacted because there's not the same kind of social safety net for animals that there is for a lot of the human population. And so in this year in particular, we think it's really important that we engage the community and have people be able to come and see what we're doing and learn about what we're doing. In many ways, this year has been an unusual year by keeping people separate, but binding people by unusual facets. It would be impossible to go through this year without talking about the influences of the various documentary series that have come out that have talked about big cats. And it's very important that we make sure that the reality TV does not overshadow the reality. Because not just for us, but for the thousands of other animals across the country who continue to need the support and are supported by good people. We've got to be able to bring truth to that picture and really have those real conversations. Now that people's interest is piqued, we want to move them from being just a public to an informed public, a group that's going to actually know a little bit more about the work that gets done. But we can't do that unless people engage. So please do find a way to come out, donate to us online or in person. And of course, stay tuned to our various social media sites as well, as we talk about the opportunities that people will have to have special engagements towards the end of the year.
Well said. I'm going to put your website up real quick. Again, how'd you like that coming at you?
Very nice.
They're beautiful. And if I scroll up, I think you'll see there is a plethora of information of what you discussed in great detail, for sure, including being able to volunteer, some of the more current news, and how you can book tours as well, and memberships, as you can see on the top of that link also.
Yes, and with the weather finally starting to cool down, the cats are actually getting even more active as it gets darker earlier. So really looking forward to what they'll be able to show us this season, and sharing it with all the members of your families out there.
So why don't we go ahead and we'll close up, but go ahead and share. I don't think we've mentioned what general area you're in Osceola County. Let's do that. And again, just very simple, CFLAR.org. We're going to make sure that all those links that they already are, we'll make sure the links are active in this post, and real simple. So if you want to be a part of what's happening at Central Florida Animal Reserve, and we highly encourage you to do so, just go ahead and tell everybody where you're located, and we'll close it in.
Right. We are open on weekends from 12 to 5 on Saturdays and Sundays. And you can find us in beautiful East Osceola County. We are, if you go east on 192 and down south on 441, you will find us on the side just past the former Forever Florida. And that is the home for all of these amazing cats and the people that serve them.
Awesome. Well, again, we highly recommend people experiencing this, whether you're an organization, whether you're an individual, a business, certainly something not to be missed, especially if you're in the Osceola County area. It is something that you need to, we encourage you to check out and potentially be a part of. And so again, Dr. Wiltz, we thank you for being here very much today. Like I said, I know Mondays are tough to schedule, but we appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you, Keith, and hope to see everyone really soon.
I agree. All right. Well, again, this is Keith with Positively Osceola, along with Dr. Simba Wiltz from the Central Florida Animal Reserve. Together, we are making a positive difference in and around Osceola County. Thank you, Doctor.
Have a good one.